I didn't think much of him the first night. That's the part that still bothers me. He was just standing there, across the street, under a broken streetlight, facing my house. I had just moved in 2 weeks earlier. First house, small suburb outside Columbus, quiet street. Identical homes lined up like copy-paste versions of each other. The kind of neighborhood where nothing dramatic ever happens. I didn't have curtains yet. That meant every night, when I sat in my living room with the lights on, I was completely visible from the street, like a display model in a showroom. It didn't feel unsafe. It just felt temporary. The streetlight across from my house flickered for a few nights, and then died completely. I noticed because that corner of the street became darker than the rest. A clean shadow line where light used to reach. That's where he stood the first time. Tall, dark clothes, still, not pacing, not checking his phone, not smoking, just standing, facing my house. I looked at him for maybe 5 seconds and went back to unpacking boxes. I assumed he was waiting for someone, maybe a ride, maybe a neighbor. When I glanced up again, 20 minutes later, he hadn't moved. Same posture, same direction, watching. A slow discomfort crept in. Not fear, not yet, just awareness. When I got up to grab water and came back, he was gone. I told myself I'd imagined the stillness. 2 nights later, he was back. Same spot, same darkness, same stillness. That's when it stopped feeling random. I turned off my living room lamp. The house went dark. I stepped back from the window and watched from the shadows. He didn't react, didn't shift, didn't step away. He just stood there in the dark patch under the dead streetlight, facing a house that had just gone black, like he had expected it. That night, I locked my bedroom door. A week later, I finally asked my neighbor about the house across the street. She'd lived there for years, knew everything about everyone. "That house?" she said. "It's been empty since spring." Empty. No one living there. No one visiting. No reason for anyone to be standing outside it, at night, facing my window. I ordered blackout curtains that afternoon. 2-day shipping. When they arrived, I installed them immediately. For the first time since moving in, my living room wasn't visible from the street. I remember the relief. It felt like solving the problem, like closing a door. That night, I heard something against the side of the house. A soft, dragging sound. Slow, deliberate, like fabric or skin brushing against siding. It stopped when I held my breath. Started again when I moved. I didn't go outside. I checked every lock, every window, all secure. Eventually, the sound faded. I barely slept. In the morning, I saw them. Footprints, pressed into the damp mulch beneath my living room window. Not walking past, not scattered, just clustered. Deep impressions at the toes, like someone had leaned forward, toward the glass. I stood there staring at them, trying to calculate how long someone would have had to stand in one spot to leave marks that deep. Then something colder hit me. The curtains had been up. He couldn't see in anymore, so he came closer. I called the non-emergency line. 2 officers came by, took photos, walked the perimeter. Polite but calm. No signs of forced entry, no suspects. "Call us if anything else happens." They left. I felt exposed. For about a week, nothing. I started to relax. Then one night around 2 a.m., I woke up to tapping, soft, rhythmic, against the living room window. Not wind, not random. Tap, pause, tap, pause, like someone testing the glass. I stayed frozen in bed for nearly a minute before I grabbed my phone and called 911. I whispered to the dispatcher. She told me officers were on the way. The tapping stopped. Just stopped. The police searched the yard, found nothing, except fresh disturbances in the flower bed beneath the window. Again. One of the officers laughed at something while standing outside. I don't know what was funny. I stayed with a friend for 10 days after that. When I returned, I installed cameras everywhere. Front, back, both sides, motion lights, new deadbolts. I turned my house into something harder to watch. Or so I thought. A month passed. No sightings, no sounds, nothing on camera except animals. Then one night, around 11:40 p.m., I made a mistake. I opened the curtains, just slightly. I don't know why. Habit, maybe. Curiosity. I looked across the street. The streetlight had been fixed weeks earlier, bright now, clear. And there he was. Not under the light this time, not in the shadow. He was standing in the open, facing my house, completely still. The light showed everything. Tall, hands at his sides, head slightly tilted upward, looking directly at my window. He had never needed the dark. The dark had just been convenient. I closed the curtain immediately. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I checked the cameras. Front yard, empty. Side yard, empty. Backyard. I froze. There was a figure standing in the middle of my yard, facing the house. Same posture, same stillness. I ran back to the window and pulled the curtain open. The street was empty. No one across from me. I checked the camera again. Backyard feed. Empty. No movement. No recording triggered. Nothing saved. Just quiet grass. I moved out 3 months later. Told everyone it was for work. For a better commute. Better opportunity. That wasn't the reason. The reason was that I never figured out how he could stand in 2 places at once. And I never figured out why the cameras never caught him. I drive past that street sometimes. The house looks normal. Family living there now. Kids' bikes in the driveway. Lights on at night. Curtains wide open. And sometimes, when I slow down at the corner, I notice the street light flicker. Just once. Before it steadies. I didn't think much of him the first night. That's the part I regret. Because whatever he was waiting for, he was patient enough to wait as long as it took, and I still don't know if he ever stopped.